It being 6 o'clock, I call this meeting to order. Get into this first, though. I would ask that any councillor disclose any pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof for the agenda of this meeting or for minutes of a meeting at which a member was not in attendance. I would also advise that anyone present may not record by either video or audio any meetings and or leave any cell phone on, text or email at any meetings without permission.
That's it.
Are you recording?
Yes, please.
So item 3, we have with us tonight Claudine Cordero from BDO doing a presentation of the 2015 financial statements. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I think I gave everybody a copy of the financial statements. So I hope you had an opportunity to look at them prior to this meeting, but I'll go through them in cursory form. So we'll start on page 2, which is just it's management's responsibility for the financial statements. Basically, it's saying that the statements are the responsibility of management, and that the statements have been prepared in accordance with Canadian Generally Accepted Accounting Principles for Local Governments, which is established by the Public Sector Accounting Board. Okay, so that's how the statements are prepared. Okay, so on page 3, we have our auditor's report, which is addressed to the members and ratepayers. And basically what it says is that we've audited the financial statements, that management is responsible for the financial statements, and my job as an auditor is to express an opinion on the financial statements. And we believe that we've done enough audit work to make an opinion on the statements. And on page 4, basically it's saying that the statements present fairly the financial position of the corporation for the year ended December 31st, 2015. There is one qualification though, and that's on the last paragraph of page 3, which it's just relating to a new standard which was introduced in 2015 for PSAB or municipalities, and it's a standard that the municipality was not able to fully complete in 2015, which will be completed in the 2016 audit. And Brian's shaking his head. And basically the standard is, it's called PS 3260. It's for liability for contaminated sites. And this standard applies only to sites that are not in productive use, where an environmental standard has been exceeded, and where the municipality is either directly responsible or accepts responsibility, and it is expected that future economic benefits will be given up. So ultimately, we've qualified the report. The management has been working hard in getting there. We're not quite finished with the process yet. Okay. So if we go to page 5, which is the consolidated statement of financial position, this highlights the financial assets, financial liabilities, and net debt and accumulated surplus of the corporation at December 31st, 2015. And if we look at financial assets, cash and short-term investments were about the same as the previous year at about $5.8 million compared to $5.9 million in the previous year. Taxes receivable were up, went from 1.4 to 1.5, so it's up about 108,000. And trade and other receivables, 2,666,000. That's down from the previous year by about 800. In the previous year, there was a large HST that was receivable, and that's being paid down. But that's just a timing thing. So total financial assets were $10,078,000 compared to $10,873,000. In terms of liabilities, financial liabilities, there's bank indebtedness at the end of the year of $2.4 million. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities were $865,000, significantly down from the previous year, which was $4,045,000, and that was so big because there was the construction for the clinic was going on at that time. Deferred revenue went from 1.2 million to 658,000. Prior year there was monies for Lassie Road, which were spent in the current year. And then the 658 is most of that is gas tax money that's sitting there for future use. The landfill closure and post-closure liability at the end of the year was $1,073,000, so that's an estimate, and it's up by $70,000. And then long-term liabilities were $19,075,000 compared to $18.4 the previous year. New debt within the year was about $2.3 million, and debt that was repaid during 2015 was about $1.7 million. Total financial liabilities were $24,097,000 compared to $24,722,000 in the previous year. And if you take your financial assets less your financial liabilities, you're left with what's called net debt. And it was $14,018,000. Previous year was $13.8. So your net debt is up a little bit from the previous year of about $170,000. Non-financial assets, there were some prepaids of about $96,000, similar to the prior year. Intangible capital assets were at $56,912,000. Previous year was $56,364,000. The change there was about $3.2 million in additions, which included like the health center, there was some equipment, your roads, your sidewalks, there's some highway commercial development. So that's what was in that $3.2 million. And then capital assets amortized for about $2.6 million. Total non-financial assets are $57,008,000. And then your accumulated surplus taken into the net debt position is $42,989,000 compared to $42.6 in the previous year. And that $42,989,000 is basically comprised of your, you've got about $4.2 million set aside for reserves and reserve funds, which are fully invested in your cash. So that's, you can see that cash is over that amount. And then you've got $37 million tied up in capital assets. If you take capital less your long-term debt, that's what's tied up in capital. And then you've got about $880,000 that's unrestricted going forward into 16. Okay. So that's the consolidated statement of financial position. And then if we turn to page 6, we've got the consolidated statement of operations, which highlights revenues and expenses for the year. And you can see in the first column, we've got the approved budget, and then the 15 and then 14 numbers. So if we look for under revenues for the year totaled $18,282,000, which was comprised of $8,045,000 of taxation, which is basically your general tax levy, your subs and your payments in lieu, and that was slightly above budget and up from the previous year. Fees and user charges, $5,136,000. That was up from the previous year, but a little less than budget. Canada grants were $493,000, very close to budget. Ontario grants were $4,077,000, a little bit higher than your 3.9 that was budgeted. And then other income was $529,000 with a budget of $404,000. In the previous year, other income stands out of that $5,098,000. That's basically the clinic, the monies from Goldcorp for the medical clinic. So the previous year, that's why we're showing it was $22 million in the previous year, down 18, and the difference is just the medical clinic. Expenses totaled $17,903,000 compared to $17,960,000 from the previous year, so your expenses are down. And pleased to report they're also less than what was budgeted at $17,946,000. We look at the breakdown. General government was $1,883,000. That was lower than budget by about, $50,000. Protection services were $2,599,000 compared to a budget of $2.6 million. And that's protection services are actually down from the previous year. Transportation was $3,935,000, below last year as well as budget. Environmental was $3,762,000, up about $50,000 from the previous year and over budget by a little bit. Health services was $359,000. Previous year it was $283,000 and a budget of $214,000. Social and family services, I think that says $2,880,000, up a little bit from the previous year, but under budget. And then recreation and cultural services, $1,925,000 compared to a budget of $2,052,000. And I should say these numbers consolidate the museum and the library numbers. Okay. And then planning and development was $557,000 compared to a budget of $611,000. So again, total expenses were $17,903,000 compared to a budget of $17,946,000. If you take your revenues less your expenses, you're left with an annual surplus of $378,000. Previous year, $4.5 million. Again, that's just because of the medical clinic. But you only budgeted to have a $86,000 surplus. So you should be pretty pleased with the results for 15 in that your surplus was $378,000. So congratulations on exceeding your budget expectations in terms of the bottom line. And then the rest of the statements sort of just speak to more of what I've already kind of gone through. On page 7 is the consolidated statement of changes in net debt. Just shows how net debt has changed from one year to the next. So you can see it starts with the annual surplus and then it reconciles tangible capital assets that were purchased and then amortization. So it shows 13.8 to the 14 million. And then on page 8 is the consolidated statement of cash flows, just showing the reconciliation that you started with cash of 5.9 million and you ended up with 5.8 million basically. So that's cash position has basically stayed the same. And then 9, 10, and 11 are the significant accounting policies, which have not changed from 2014, so that the significant accounting policies are the same. And then pages 12 to 25 just basically are more notes that describe the breakdown of either the balance sheet or income statement items, which I don't think I need to go through unless someone has specific questions. So that's the audited financial statements for 2015. I would like to thank Brian and his team for assisting with the audit and the financial statements. It's a fair bit of work to get the numbers done and consolidated. So that's my report. Questions?
Councilor Barron.
I have one question. This audit report is at the end of December 31st, 2015. We are sitting in November 2016. And I would be amiss to say it's kind of late. And I would like to know if you can tell me, I don't know if you can, but can you tell me why it is so late this year? I usually like to go through it before you arrive so I can have my questions to ask you. Needless to say, I didn't have to read this document on the weekend. So I'm just kind of, it's very unusual for that to ever happen.
Yes, it's a little
Because
bit...
I've sat many audits with you, and you're always a week or so ahead of time giving it to us with lots of time. So there has to be something happened in 2000, for this statement 2015 to come almost at the end of 2016.
The timing is a little bit late for sure. Normally we would have this done a lot earlier, and all I can say is that certainly we did start our interim and year-end field work on time. We did get information on capital assets, I think sometime in July, and there were further adjustments in October, and then just timing of schedules. I think ultimately we've just ended up here. And another delay also was, the new policy, 3260 on contaminated sites, which we were debating whether we should try to, get that done in time for purposes of the statements, and we just felt that we should table it because we were holding up the statements as they were. So,
Thank you.
Anything else?
Would it be just to state our position on those contaminated sites, or just leave it?
Sure.
So I'd just like to bring to council's attention the position of the CAO and myself on these contaminated sites in relation to putting a value on stuff. The contaminated sites that there may be were all contaminated by mining industry. The province received 100% of the royalties for the minerals that came out of the ground. The municipality received 0%. In my humble opinion, the liability rests with the province, not this land that they forced us to take into amalgamation.
Yeah, so it's a new policy that the work has been completed on an inventory. There's an extended inventory of all of our property that we own, what's in use, what's not in use. And there are some questions, particularly with 3 properties that had historical mining on it, and we need to work through our position on how we want to deal with those moving forward. There's always the question of successor rights. We can reference back to the tech file. So it's something that we're not taking lightly, but we want to make sure we're taking the correct and the correct position that's best for our municipality.
And to plant an arbitrary high value on this is all that would succeed in doing is bankrupting us on paper. Because the minute that you put a value on a piece of paper saying that you're accepting liability, and then that just, you're on the
I don't think we're there yet, Brian, for sure not. I think ultimately it's many factors that come into a conclusion, and one of them is, do you expect to have a cash outlay? And I think ultimately that if there's no requirement to remediate, then I think it's just maybe disclosure. So we'll see, Brian. I think ultimately we need to complete the process and
Not ready for tonight discussion.
right.
We know
it's
now
premature, yeah.
And that is why the delay.
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
So
Thank you.
infrastructure development coordinator Todd Olson's done a lot of work on this, and it is complete. It's just addressing those 3 properties, and what's the strategy on that? That's where we're at.
Just one question, and Brian, you probably know the answer right off the top of your head. On page 12, I'm looking at short-term investments. 2014, in the restricted, we had 135,000. 2015, 1.08 mil. Is that just because we put more into it?
Yes, that's
From gas tax or
35,000 was gas tax money for that initial year, and then the second one was one of the gas tax payments for the 2015 plus the amount that we moved from the bank account into the one investment fund for the airport. So 875,000, I think, is the airport component of it, and the differences.
But they are sort of separated.
Oh, yes, there's 4 different accounts for the one for the parking,
Okay.
and one for the 2015 gas tax, and one for the 2014 gas tax.
Perfect, thanks, Brad. Any further questions? Hearing none. Moved by Councillor Goodwillie, seconded by Councillor Barron. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby accepts the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake consolidated financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2015, as prepared by BDO Canada LLP. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Glennie.
You're more than welcome to
And we'll
stay.
see you early.
Next year, right? When the clouds rise, eh? Thank you very much.
Safe travels home.
Yeah.
So you're staying overnight, are you?
Too dark tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really dark out there.
play it safe.
We do this and then ask for. Moved by Councillor Barron, seconded by Councillor Goodwillie. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider sections 4 to 8 of Part 1 consent agenda as read and adopt the items. Does anyone have any items they wish to debate? Councillor Barron.
8.3 and 8.4
8.3.
and 4.
That's it? Uh, 5.3, CA.
Did you have it?
Oh.
Basically the same issue.
Yes, I just wanted to make note on this. Although this particular item, the OMPF funding, Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, it talks about our 2016 payments that were received. I just wanted to make note, this is another challenge we'll be facing in 2017. OMPF funding will go down another $139,000, and I just wanted to make note of that. We've got several challenges, one of which we've talked quite often about the new impact assessments on the large industrial class, but this is yet another challenge we'll be facing, the loss of $139,000 in 2017. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Any further comment? Eight point three.
I would like to, instead of filling in all those blanks that you see up there right at this moment, I would like to see this resolution deferred till we have our little meeting on budgeting. Because I understand that there's going to be a budgeting meeting talking about a couple of things that Mark talked on about. And also we all received, including council, to be looking at the next budget for 2017, to be picking out things where we could maybe save. I think it's 2% that we're all looking at to try and do that. And tonight I would like to propose we defer that, because I know personally I have a suggestion for this one, but I don't feel like I want to do it here tonight and tell you about it until all 5 of us are sitting around this table and we're discussing everything what Mark tells us what is going to happen to us, and also stuff that we can come up with our 2% savings. And I think we can come up with some savings on this issue and on my next issue.
So just to clear up any misunderstanding,
Pardon me?
just to clear up any misunderstanding, I wouldn't have let you tell us what we're gonna do anyway.
Oh, that's good, because I would like this as part of it. It is going to be part of
And the
it.
other part of that is, it's not up to Mark to tell us what we're gonna do either. We don't wanna go forward with that misconception. It's up to us to decide what we're going to do.
Oh, he's not going to tell us. He already told us we're finding 2%. Us as a council department is to look for 2% amongst the five of
Yeah.
us.
And I
And there's-
agree with that.
Okay, and then we're
But what
going
you said was Mark will tell us what we're doing. So I
Mark-
just wanna be clear. that-
Mark is going to tell us what our big vision is and our big problem could be in 2017 at a meeting in December. And then we as a group of five, not Mark, going to decide what's going on. We as a group of five are going to try and conquer whatever he tells us, try and figure out where we can go for the future.
As I said, just to clear up any misunderstanding.
I am clearing it up. So I would like 8.3 at this hour to be deferred till we see the whole picture and everybody is here.
Okay. Any comment? Jack or Councilor Goodwin? Okay.
Makes a little bit of sense since we're still planning.
And I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here and say 8.4 is the same thing.
8.4 is exactly the same words.
So I suppose it's the
There is a way we can save money on that one too. And we can discuss that when we have that special meeting.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask perhaps the clerk, with a lot of these conferences, is a timing for registration and booking of rooms? How does that timing, how will that work with the?
She can cancel.
Yeah, I believe rooms have already been booked for AMO. We had to book them ahead of time
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the Canada 150, and I think 5 rooms were booked. Is that right? Or 4 for AMO?
We would have booked 4, possibly only 3 if those is.
And also with regards to FCM, I think we've already pre-booked 2 rooms as well.
Yes.
So
So there's not a sensitivity of timing, it can be deferred, like to next month?
yes, we just may have to cancel rooms. We will lose the deposit if we cancel rooms. That's all. So I'm just going to advise we have an opportunity to cancel the rooms for FCM up until February 24th
No cost.
at no cost.
AMO is a little bit more unique this year because of the, as the clerk had mentioned, the Canada 150 celebrations. That's why they book the bookings out early.
But
So when is council wanting to defer this matter to?
Next council meeting? Go ahead.
we wanted to be deferred to whenever I think it was committee of the whole. We were going to get more information put on the table. I think our 2% cutback on our 2017 budget should be in to wherever it's going, or to whoever's going to look at it, by end of December. So yes, next meeting we should be able to solve that problem. I hope that's when we're going to get this.
I can read my meeting.
Yep. So, moved by Councilor Barron, seconded by Councilor Goodwill, resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby considers sections 4 to 8, part 1 of the consent agenda as read and adopt the items with the exception of items 8.3 and 8.4, which are hereby deferred to the December council meeting. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Barron, seconded by Councilor Goodwillie. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider all bylaws, Section 9 of Part 1, as read without amendment or debate a first and second time. All in favor? Carried. And moved by Councillor Goodwillie, seconded by Councillor Barron. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider all bylaws. Section 9 of Part 1 consent agenda is read a third time and passed. Does any councillor wish to discuss any bylaw? Councillor Barron.
9.5. And my question is, I'm looking for the lease agreement here that you got. I'm looking for a dollar figure. Now, unless I overlooked it, what are they paying?
The original agreement, what it is, it's an assignment of lease. So the original agreement was with Rivera,
Yeah?
and now it's being assigned to Paramed. All the same terms and conditions apply. I don't have that figure for you right now.
Okay.
But we can certainly provide that to you.
Okay.
I don't know what the lease amount is off the top of my head.
So they've just changed the name then? Same company, changed in...
It's a different company, I
Name?
believe, that's taking over.
It's an
Yes.
assignment of the lease,
Yeah.
agreement. And then off the top of my head, I don't recall what that lease arrangement is. It's so much per square foot that I don't recall.
But
Yeah,
this is not a new lease.
No, it's
No.
not.
No,
But-
and it's for that small office in the bottom of the parks,
Yes.
88 square feet, I think, or something like that.
I know where it is and all that stuff. I just would like to know, if you're going to ask us to do a bylaw and we're going to talk about what we are doing, there should be a dollar figure in it. And if it was the past, and if it's going to stay the same as what the old company had it, there was a figure in there. I'm sure there was a dollar sign or a dollar amount. Right now, looking at it, okay, it's gone into a new company's name, and even if the amount stays the same, it should be written down in the lease. Otherwise, we're approving a blank thing. Just go ahead and approve it, and they could be charging us anything.
We'll be happy to provide you, all of council, with
Yes.
those numbers.
Okay.
But again, the number amount doesn't change. It's just an assignment of this lease, an existing lease arrangement that was approved, was it last year, I believe. But we'll provide you that information.
Okay, because there's myself and others want to see it, what the dollar figure is.
Certainly.
Mr. Treasurer.
And they're not charging us, we're charging them.
Okay, you're still collecting money from whatever company it is tonight.
Yeah.
So how much are you charging them? That's what I'd like to know. How much are they paying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
revenue coming in.
You-
You're still doing a lease with somebody. There should be a dollar figure in there. How
No,
much are
you-
you bringing in?
You stated we were paying them, not the other way around first.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, so I was just, but like Mark said, we'll get you that, everyone that information.
Okay, all this paper.
Okay. Having said all that, resolved, same as before, Council Corporation Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider all bylaws. Section 9, Part 1 of the consent agenda is read a third time and passed. All in favor? She's a tie.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Item 13. 13.1, Kenora Rainy River District Child and Family Services charitable donation for foster families and children in care Christmas party. We donated this last year, did we not?
Yes, $200 last year was donated.
And did we budget it for this year? For $200?
It's part of that lump sum council donation thing, there is room.
And there is room. So $200 again this year?
Sure.
I have a motion for that.
Moved by Councillor Barron, seconded by Councillor Goodwillie. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby approves a donation to Kenora Rainy River District Child and Family Services in the amount of $200 for the Red Lake and Ear Falls Foster Families and Children in Care Christmas Party towards the purchase of gifts and party expenses. All in favor? Carried. I had asked to have this one added. It's the Township of Georgia Bay regarding hydro costs for rural residents. Simply saying that there is an inequity between the cost of hydro for rural residents as compared to urban residents due to higher distribution charges. They're asking that we, that councils send a letter to various other outfits, and all I'm looking for is approval of that motion.
I made yet?
We have a motion.
Oh.
It's prepared.
Moved by Councillor Goodwillie, seconded by Councillor Barron. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby supports the Township of Georgian Bay in their efforts to petition the Province of Ontario to re-evaluate the structure of hydro in terms of access and delivery and implement structural changes to address the unfair practice of charging more for delivery for rural residents, and be it further resolved that Council directs staff to forward a certified true copy of this resolution to the Township of Georgian Bay for further distribution as it sees fit. Any Councilor Goodwillie? Oh,
I'm good.
all in favor?
I thought I was thinking faster.
Sounds like a jet engine winding down. Moved by Councillor Goodwillie, seconded by Councillor Barron. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Red Lake hereby adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Carried.